Hello, I'm Bob Schieffer, and welcome to the CBS Evening News online edition. Just ahead, House Republican leader Tom DeLay is indicted in what prosecutors say was an illegal campaign finance scheme. He says he did nothing wrong. Also, a refinery shortage is blamed for high gas prices, so why haven't we built a new one in 30 years? Plus, they're Fast and Furious, a new kind of driver ed for teens. It's all starting now on the CBS Evening News online edition. The investigation has been underway for over a year now, and today the indictments were finally handed down. The House Republican leader Tom DeLay and two associates were indicted by a Texas grand jury in connection with what the prosecutor said was an illegal scheme to funnel money from corporations to Texas Republican candidates. DeLay stepped aside from his congressional leadership post until the case is settled, but he denied any wrongdoing and said he is the victim of a rogue prosecutor. Here's Jim Stewart in Washington.
It has not been a good week on Capitol Hill for Republicans, and today it got worse when House Majority Leader Tom DeLay was required to immediately step down from his leadership role following his indictment back home in Texas.
Now let me be very, very clear. I have done nothing wrong.
The White House quickly came to DeLay's defense, calling him a good ally, but carefully said little else.
The president's view is that we need to let the legal process work.
The charge against DeLay is Texas in its details, but national in scope. Its origin is in a nasty fight 3 years ago over control of the Texas state legislature that at one point had local Democrats literally fleeing the state to deny Republicans a quorum. DeLay wanted control of the state legislature in Texas to help build a bigger national GOP majority in the U.S. Congress. But to get it, he and his allies allegedly used corporate funds they funneled through a national Republican committee. They won, but the problem is, in Texas, corporate political funding can be illegal. Now DeLay believes those twin victories and the personal vendetta of Democratic prosecutor Ronnie Earl are the real cause of his problem.
Mr. Earl is abusing the power of his office to exact personal revenge for the role I played in the Texas Republican legislative campaign in 2002.
There's no such thing as good timing for an indictment, but this one is especially bad for Republicans. The president is slipping in the polls, his initiatives are dying on Capitol Hill, and the man the White House had counted on to turn that fight around now stands indicted. Bob?
The Energy Department predicted today that gasoline prices will continue to rise in the next few weeks. It said 12 refineries are still shut down as a result of the hurricanes. That's a loss of well over 1 million barrels of gasoline a day. Even before the storms, though, refineries were struggling to meet demand, which raises the question, why not build some more? Well, it's not as easy as you might think. Anthony Mason now with the inside story.
In a far corner of Arizona, near the Mexican border, Glenn McGinnis is trying to do something that hasn't been done in 30 years.
The proposed site of the refinery is right in this area.
Build a new oil refinery.
There's a long way to go. We're looking at 4 years to engineer and construct a project like this.
That's if he can get all the environmental permits and raise the money.
The refinery is about a $2.6 billion project.
Here's why we have record high gas prices. It's not that we don't have enough oil, the experts say. We don't have enough refineries. So why haven't we built a new one since 1976?
The fundamental reason is that the economics of refining have been very poor. Refineries just haven't made money.
Industry consultant Malcolm Turner says until recently, refineries were considered risky investments. Oil price swings cut profits and drove many smaller refiners out of business.
If you go back 20 years, the United States operated with a large surplus refining capacity.
In 1980, the U.S. could refine 18 million barrels a day and used only 17 million. But as demand has soared by almost 20%, our refining capacity has actually shrunk.
There's plenty of crude out there, but crude is a worthless commodity unless it has someplace it can go.
John Kingston, chief oil analyst for Platts, says Katrina created a crisis when it shut down 4 refineries.
And they're not coming back for a while.
A while is how long?
I'd say probably you'll maybe start to see some coming back in December or so.
That long?
That long.
This Texas refinery, owned by Shell and the Saudis, reportedly plans to double in size. That would make it the country's largest, but Glenn McGinnis says it's not nearly enough.
You're looking at, 7 to 10 of these kinds of facilities required over the next 5 to 10 years.
So even if we start building refineries tomorrow, it could take a decade to catch up to our appetite for oil. Anthony Mason, CBS News, New York.
One of the biggest hazards on America's roadways is the teenage driver. Teens are 4 times more likely than older drivers to be involved in a crash. Well, now some parents are sending their kids to an extreme driver ed, but does it make them better drivers or worse? Mika Brzezinski now has tonight's Eye on America.
Gas. Get it up, come on, faster.
With a new license in his back pocket, 17-year-old David Spodak is burning rubber, swerving to avoid disaster, and jamming on the brakes. Stunts you'd think would make any parent take away the keys.
Bug control.
But David is at driving school, where skids, spin-outs, and sudden stops are not discouraged. They're the goal.
Steer it.
This doesn't look like driver's ed.
Well, it's what driver's ed should be.
Ex-race car driver Rick DiOrio says these advanced maneuvers are the skills teens need.
A lot of people would say this is too young an age to be teaching these moves.
How else are you going to learn it? I mean, we're not teaching people how to go fast. We're teaching them how to save a skid. Steer.
That's what former race car driver Rob Sloniker tried to teach me. He says most people don't do enough to avoid an accident.
And what do I do now?
And I didn't, as this attempted skid recovery on a wet road turned into a complete spin-out.
Oh, jeez, that was wrong.
David's dad is convinced these skills are worth the $800 price tag for the course.
If it just gives him one more second of experience, that might be enough to save his life.
Why'd you like it so much?
Besides that, I'm just into cars. It's a lot of adrenaline.
But adrenaline is precisely the problem, says safe driving advocate Kristen Bagstrom.
When we put young and inexperienced drivers in adrenaline-producing, high-risk situations, we're asking for greater problems down the road.
She says teens are already tempted to take risks and that these classes encourage overconfidence, a bad mix.
What would you say to a parent who's thinking of enrolling their kids in one of these courses?
I would challenge these parents and ask them instead to imagine what it would be like to be celebrating their son's 21st birthday at their gravesite.
Why would you put a kid in an adrenaline-producing situation? Isn't that risky?
Yeah, it could be risky, but, again, we don't teach them judgment. We teach them the skills to save a skid if they get into it in a real-world situation.
The judgment parents will have to make is whether this course teaches kids the rules of the road or gives them license to break them. In Lime Rock, Connecticut, I'm Mika Brzezinski for Eye on America.
More stories are just a click away, but don't forget to join me on television for the on-air edition of the CBS Evening News. On Thursday's broadcast, after Katrina, some of the South's most valuable treasures are now ashes in history. We'll show you how some folks are saving history, one artifact at a time. For CBSNews.com, I'm Bob Schieffer.